We don't need no education.
We don't need no thought control.
Hey, babe.
Yeah, honey.
We really need some education.
Yeah.
Hey!
Hey, hi.
Welcome to the Natasha and Debbie show.
Hello.
That's brutal.
Just two patriotic girls, so please don't take us the wrong way.
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome to Sunday's edition of the Natasha and Debbie show
Here we are.
in Cincinnati, Ohio, in our basement,
That's right.
as we belong, I guess. So we're doing a new thing. We're trying something different. It feels weird to be so far from you.
No, come over here.
We're sad. Hey, but you know what? You guys are watching this on Sunday. It's Saturday night here, so it's officially our anniversary week.
Anniversary week.
Tuesday, the 19th,
That's right.
is
It'll be
our...
18 years.
Yeah, that's confusing. October 19th
18 years.
will be 18 years. But anyway, we thought we'd try this setup out.
So let us know if you like it.
Yeah, let us know if this is better. We're trying to see if we can make the video bigger,
Hopefully it is.
because we're Americans and we do everything bigger.
That's right.
All even like really bad, stupid stuff,
Sometimes.
like buffets. Anyway, as always, guys, please like the video and consider subscribing to our channel. We love having you. We've gotten some really sweet comments since the last video, and just we so appreciative of you guys. You know, like happy birthdays to me early in advance for next month, and someone's sending a birthday card to me. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I forgot your name, but thank you. And just all the happy anniversary wishes and things. We really do appreciate it very much.
Yes, we do. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. So today what we're going to do is dive into this video as quick as possible because it's a little bit of a longer one than we typically watch. But this one is on 8 ways British and American education systems are very different.
We're going to learn about learning.
So learn with us to learn about learning.
That's right.
That's confusing. There we go. All right, let's see what we see what we learn here. It always jumps up. Oopsies.
Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to education. Before we get underway, some disclaimers. Britain is made up of 3 countries, England, Scotland and Wales, while the UK also includes Northern Ireland. Because each country has a separate education system operating under a different government, comparing British and American approaches could take as long as a doctoral program. Therefore, when it comes to Britain, I'm going to focus on the country of my own schooling, England. For more details on the other countries, see my links in the description.
Okay,
Furthermore, some of the finer details of US education can vary by state, school district and school. So for some things in today's video, there will be exceptions that prove the rule. Basically, there's going to be a part 2. Ahead of his election victory in 1997, former British Prime Minister Tony Blair summed up his political priorities with 3 words: education, education, education. The problem was, he didn't specify in what order. Schools in England date back to about the year 598. They were introduced by Augustine of Canterbury, who, like many in the 6th century, resembled a sketch of somebody from the 6th century. On the other hand, the first public school in America was the Boston Latin School. It was modelled after a grammar school in Boston, England, and among its notable alumni was Benjamin Franklin. History notes that he didn't actually graduate and quit the school at the age of 10, and he didn't even have a Nintendo Switch. Fast forward to 2020 and today's kids haven't got a clue where the word fast forward comes from. But also those kids, like us before them, are cogs in an educational machine that has been worked and refined for hundreds of years. Except on either side of the pond, that machine is a different make and model. In fact, English and American education is very different. As somebody who was schooled the English way but married an American teacher, I'm going to take a look at those differences. Before we look at the education life cycle, let's talk about one of the most striking visual differences between English and American schools: uniforms. In the United States, most schools don't require one. Brits like me know this because we've seen Saved by the Bell, but that doesn't give us the whole picture. American schools do enforce a dress code. This varies by school, but in general, you might see kids wearing things like khakis and polo shirts. You know, basically anything worn by 55-year-old professionals called Scott. There's typically no requirement that these clothes have to match from student to student. And while some private schools do require uniforms, this is the exception that proves the rule. In England...
Hold on. So I want to talk about that for a minute because you went to Catholic school, right?
I did.
And did you not have to...
We had uniforms.
Okay. I thought so. I went to public schooling, and we did not have uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, we really didn't have much of a dress code. It was just, I mean...
I'm sure there was some.
Well, yeah, there was simple
cover
rules.
body parts.
Yeah, well, I actually got sent home once for wearing something a little too revealing, which
That's
is...
why they have the rules.
I know. But, like, I think it was, like, if you put your arm down your leg... Here, I'm going to stand up in our YouTube video. It's like breaking rules. So it's had to be like if you wore a skirt, right?
Uh-huh.
I can't really show you guys. I'm really tall. See, I'm huge. I can't get my arm all the way down there. So anyway, but your skirt had to be longer than like your middle finger down your leg.
That's still short.
I mean, it depends on how tall you are.
It's still short.
But it had to be like right at that length.
No, ours were a kneel on the ground and it had to be 2 fingers off the ground.
Okay, well, we went to different schools, but I'm just...
Or longer.
Okay, that's interesting. But I mean, other than that, the dress code wasn't really, there was no dress code. It was just, there was just a couple rules, like, you know, don't look like a prostitute.
Yeah, that's not good to go to school like that.
All right, I just was curious about that, so I'll rewind that 5 seconds and we'll go back to it. Interesting, though. He's about to say you guys wear uniforms over there, don't you? He's about to. That would be really weird if it's all the schools, but let's find out.
Do require uniforms. This is the exception that proves the rule. In England, everything's flipped, and I'm not just talking about the roads. 90% of English schools require pupils to wear identical uniforms.
90%.
Think Hogwarts without all the fun stuff. And what's fascinating is there's no government mandate for schools to do this. They just do it. It really makes me wish I'd put forth a more vociferous protest against the autocratic infrastructure of my school when I was 5, but we all have regrets.
I love him.
It's true that both countries employ a numbering system to denote a child's educational development. In England, this is measured by year, and in America, by grade. And there's a slight difference in how this plays out. England's numbering system is always 1 higher than America's. So, for example, English kids in year 2 are the same age as American kids in the 1st grade. And this is the same all the way up to year 13/12th grade. This doesn't mean that English schools randomly hold children back a year. It just means that the English year 1 serves the same purpose as America's kindergarten. On the whole, English and American kids attend school between about 5 and 18, but that's not the entire story. Even before all of this, there's a 2-year warm-up session. Between 3 and 5, when children still can't do easy stuff like order pizza or filter spreadsheets, parents in both countries have them sent off to something called preschool. And instead of getting punished for their abject lack of ability, they're rewarded with free playtime. Madness. Except in England, we don't normally call it preschool. This period is broken up into what is known as nursery and reception year. Confusingly, reception year is technically the 1st year of school and year 1 is the 2nd year. Among other things, this explains why I'm so bad at maths. In America, the school where children advance to next is known as elementary, but to English people, that's just a word that Sherlock Holmes uses when he wants to be condescending. This period of education is where children from the ages of about 6 to 11 are first introduced to the broad range of knowledge they'll need to succeed in life. So, handling basic arithmetic, developing spelling ability, and explaining grass stains. In England, schools handling this period of primary education are known as primary schools, but in America, primaries are a series of state elections for nominating a party candidate, which occur roughly every week forever. And then there's the average class size. In the US, the average class size for self-contained elementary classes is about 22. Just saying that out loud,
Average.
I can already hear the laughter from teachers in states where the average is much higher.
Yeah.
For instance, Utah, where it's 27. As it happens though, 27 is the national average for English primary schools.
Really?
This was even the case when I was at school back in 1782. In the United States, middle school is an alternate dimension that exists between elementary school and high school education. This dark underworld of sorcery is where teachers become locked in a battle of wits against a hive mind of monsters known as 8th graders. The average class size for departmentalized instruction is about 25, which only adds an extra layer to this already cruel hellscape. In England, it goes like this. The upside down is known generally as secondary school. Mercifully, the average class size is about 22, but while this nightmarish period of education, as with the United States, roughly encompasses the age of 11 to 14, it doesn't end there. In England, it drags on for another 2 years, coinciding age-wise with America's freshman and sophomore years of high school.
So the first year, if we're talking preschool, and of course preschool here, I assume the same, I'm talking louder, is probably, I would assume the same over there. It's elective. You know, you don't have to go to preschool, at least in America. It's something you can do, obviously. And a lot of...
I think anymore you kind of have to.
Do you have to now? Oh, really?
It's pretty much expected, I think.
Is it mandatory, though?
It's not written mandatory, but I do believe it's an unwritten mandatory thing.
An unwritten mandatory?
It's expected. I mean, the kids have to be able to do X, Y, Z before they...
Well, no, I get... Okay. So to make sure I get this right. So what was the first year that preschool then there is called what now? Reception year? Something
Nursery.
else? Nursery or reception, right?
Nursery and then reception. And
Then reception. I thought it was one or the other.
Year or two.
Okay, and then the elementary school there is... Help me out, guys. Primary school.
Yes.
And then what he's referring to as middle school here, he's saying is secondary school.
That's what I got.
Okay. I want to make sure I got the whole primary, secondary, because
I think you
I
got
want
it.
to make sure I'm on track. Rewind that just 5 seconds and we'll keep going. This is actually very interesting. And I think he's funnier than most of the stand-up comedians.
He is.
He's just-
His dry humors.
Well, his quick wit to me, this is what makes me laugh. That's hilarious to me. This is my kind of guy.
Coinciding age-wise with America's freshman and sophomore years of high school, which, by the way, brings us on to this. Yes, high school. In the United States, this is a period of education from the ages of about 14 to 18. After freshman and sophomore year comes grade 11 or junior year and grade 12, senior year. This is typically when the students begin their development into humans, but it's also when most students take their SATs, a series of tests to determine readiness for college. These are not to be confused with the English SATs or SATs, which are assessments taken by 7 and 11-year-olds. In England, it is a similar process, but by a different name. And before keyboard warriors like Uncle Toby start writing in all caps that we have high schools in the UK, I know we do. But to keep things simple, that same period of schooling is typically structured like this. Age-wise, the last 2 years of secondary school are to England what freshman and sophomore years are to America. This is when pupils across the country take GCSE tests in all their subjects to determine suitability for further qualifications. Meanwhile, the English age equivalents of junior and senior year take place in what is known as sixth form or college. This is the point in education where we stop wearing uniforms and start dressing like John Travolta. It's also where we study 2 or 3 chosen specialized subjects as part of our A-levels. For me, this was English, history, and theatre studies because that's how you become a YouTube sensation. The results of these tests determine your suitability for university. They're often compared to America's advanced placement exams. But while both help to determine a student's path in higher education, they're not entirely the same thing. That being said, higher education does come with its own differences. In the US, college means something entirely different. It's the general catch-all term for an institution of higher education. In England, this is referred to as university or uni because everything devolves into slang at some point. Of course, specific institutions in both countries play hard and fast with this rule. See, for example, Harvard University and Imperial College, London. For American students, a bog-standard bachelor's degree takes...
This is a lot. The end of high school thing, I'm confused on. I got to watch that back because did you get that?
Not completely.
Upper and sixth something?
Lower and higher.
Lower and
sixth.
upper sixth?
Yeah.
I mean, we just call that junior and senior year. That was doing good, I thought, until we got to that part. Then I'm like, I don't know what just happened here. So we might have to rewatch that.
Imperial College, London. For American students, a bog-standard bachelor's degree takes 4 years to complete, while in England, unless I, somehow skipped a year, which is entirely plausible in hindsight, a bachelor's degree typically lasts 3 years. Upon completion, students in both countries can graduate with honours. The difference, though, is how this is printed on a degree transcript. In England, Bachelor of Arts, or BA, might be followed by the word honours or ons because see previous comment about slang. In America, they're all about their Latin, so honours are signified by phrases like cum laude, magna cum laude, cumulo nimbus, or cactus priculus. Like any good teacher, I've left the best bit until the end of class. It wouldn't be America and England if they weren't separated by a common language. So let's take a rapid-fire look at the differences in educational terminology. As we've already seen, you've got grade versus year, but you've also got semester versus term. While America has its students, England has its pupils. Whether or not they attend elementary school or primary school, high school or college or uni, there's a good chance they'll have to study math or maths. And in England, we don't take tests, we take exams.
I did not know they called it maths over there.
I've heard this a couple times in just recent videos. Maths! Yeah, yes. So the plural of maths is something that's very foreign to me, and you too, I see. I mean, I guess it's more than one number, so that makes sense, right?
It is, and there's different forms of math.
Maths. Oh, that's a good point.
Maths might be more proper because whether you're doing algebra or division, multiplication, who knows? Any of those other things that I math about.
That is my worst subject, always has been. Math, I hate. Always hated it. Much more preferred English class all day long.
I'll take math.
She's good at math.
I like the facts.
Yeah, and I like reading about stuff, and literature is more fun to me. Numbers are just complicated. Let's put that on a bumper sticker.
The math or maths. And in England, we don't take tests, we take exams. In England, a rubber erases a mistake. In America, it prevents one. And speaking of words that have different meanings, let's finish today's class and/or module by talking about two words that perennially cause confusion. Public school. In the United States, a public school is one that is publicly funded and free for students to attend. In 2016, more than 70% of students were publicly educated in the US, as opposed to privately educated. In England, a public school is something different. In the late 1800s, the term public was used in the sense of these schools being open to pupils of any locality, denomination, or paternal trade. Basically, anyone whose parents could afford it. So an English public school is a private school. A publicly funded school, on the other hand, is called a state school, which has nothing to do with state universities in America. It's all confusing, and I've lost my train of thought. Saved by the bell.
That's not fair.
That's it for this episode. Thank you for joining me. Let me know in the comments below if you've attended a school in either America or the United Kingdom, and you have some other suggestions for entries for part 2. If you like the sound of my voice as I do, why not follow me on Twitter and read my...
Okay, we're done here. Oh man, that was good stuff though. Yeah, he ended with a lot of confusing stuff there for me.
Yes. That did get a little...
No confusing. I'm coming back to you. Hi.
Public school and a state funded and Yeah, we'll have to look for part 2 of that. Maybe he goes in a little bit deeper on that for us.
Or you guys could, as always, you leave us such great comments. A little bit of, part 2 from you guys would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
But I do enjoy the videos I've seen of his, and I think we'll probably react to maybe some more in the future. Yeah, I don't know. I think the 90% of uniforms. I did not know that.
I didn't mind uniforms. I thought it was actually good. It kind of kept you from being distracted of trying to keep up looking like everybody else in the classroom, the kids that could afford more stuff.
I would have hated uniforms because for me, clothing and things that I was wearing, like I was, in like 7th, 8th grade is when I really started to like figure who I was. For me, self-expression came with my clothing and hair color and stuff like that. And I used to wear like crazy lipsticks and things. So I would have felt very I don't know. It would have been weird to be like everyone else,
Mm-hmm.
and that would have been very opposite for who I am, as you well know.
Well, you did
Right?
get to express yourself through your hair and your makeup and shoes.
True.
Other than that, same clothes. You don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, where's my favorite red sweater that I want to wear to school today? You can't find it. There's none of that because you're wearing the same thing you wore yesterday.
And I would hate that. That's my point. I would hate that. But, is what it is. I
Yeah.
mean, well, you went through it. I went through it. We both like what we did. So
Mhm.
that's the human experience.
That's right.
Anyway, but I enjoyed the video and learned a little bit there. I have to watch. I think we should watch this one back again on some parts.
definitely.
I got to remember the whole way that the schooling goes because it is very different than here. We just say kindergarten through senior year, really, or K through
Yeah.
12.
Yeah.
That's it. Done. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this episode today and learned something with us. Maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Hopefully you did learn
yeah.
with us.
And please, of course, like the video and please consider subscribing to our channel. Now, we will be doing, we'll have a video up again for you as always. The next video is going to be a little special since, since it is.
It's our special week, so we're going to do something special.
There we go, anniversary week. So we will see you guys then. We're actually going to record that beforehand.
Yeah.
So we can enjoy our anniversary week. And, but we will see you then. And as always,
Thanks for joining us.
yeah, thanks. And God bless, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.